Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle-earth here with a video on some commanders I think we could have added to the Rise to War. Now, before I get into this video, I want to say very early on that I do not think any new commanders or even new features in the game should come at the expense of other things not being addressed. So what I mean by that is we have a lot of commanders in this game who are just bad. Baruthiel would be an example I could point to right away that I would say I would like to see commanders that are already in the game, that are not used, that are not enjoyed, or they're just bad. Let's get these commanders. I'm not saying you got to go through and do complete reworks, but slight skill adjustments, slight stat adjustments, I think could go a long way on some bad commanders or some commanders who just are kind of average, especially in the tier 3 category. Someone like Saruman, who is solid, and again, like I've been surprised by some use I've seen with him, but he's a very powerful character in Middle-earth and a very popular one, and so I feel like he should be up there closer to like a Gandalf the White level, and I don't feel like he is in the game. So just before we get into like, hey, let's speculate about stuff, I just want to say I think they should fix the stuff they already have before they add stuff, but will that happen? I don't know. I just feel like obligated to put that out there, that I hope that they address things in the game first before adding new stuff. With that being said, we're going to get to the list here in just 1 second. If there is a commander you like a lot, let me know down in the comments below. If we get enough attention behind one commander, I was thinking we could go a step further with it and we could build a kind of mock kit for that commander and post it in the main Discord for the Rise to War for the game, and do a game suggestion about, hey, we had a suggestion and this is what we think as a community the build, the kit would look like, the skills, the R10 item, how they'd fit into the meta, all that kind of stuff. So if there's one that really stands out to you that you think you'd like to do some like character theory crafting on, comment down below, let me know what you think, because I'd love to get some attention behind some plans. It's one thing to say, hey, we want this commander added. It might be another thing to say, hey, we want this commander added. Here's what we think the kit could look like so it's not broken. It would fit into the meta. It would fill maybe a gap that we have in the meta, and go from there. Again, will anything happen? Maybe not. But I think it'd be kind of fun to theory craft an entire commander's build as opposed to just throwing them all out there and saying, hey, let's hope we get these. So anyway, that's a whole lot of intro. So let's go ahead and jump into the list. The first commander or commanders on my list is the Dragons of Middle-earth. Now, I don't know if this will actually happen, but we do have Balrog commander confirmed. They did say in the 1-year anniversary interview of this game that while no date or time frame was confirmed at all, they did plan to do a Balrog commander. So it makes me think that a dragon commander would also not be that far off. I think it'd be enjoyed. We do have like the generic Balrog and dragon in Heart of a Hero. So again, it'd be an adjusted form that's like viable for use as a commander. But it could be something as simple as Smaug. Also, I just pulled this chart up because I wanted people to see there are a lot of dragons in Middle-earth history. Some, like Glaurung, is the father of dragons, the first dragon ever in history, and Anglicon is the largest dragon in Middle-earth history. So some of those big ones might not be used as playable commanders because that would be like a tier 5 or 6 commander, I feel like. But they could also look at expanding Heart of a Hero to more of a like server raid feature. So there could be raids, whether it be weekly or whatever the frequency is, where, you know, let's say every Tuesday at whatever time there is a raid, maybe Anglicon or whatever it is, spawns on the map, and the entire server has to work together to take down this boss. It's not just like a Heart of a Hero boss, it's like, you know, 1 billion damage that needs to be dealt. Again, I don't know what it actually look like, but any extra features added to this game to give players a reason to log in beyond the normal war stuff going on, because for a lot of players, there's not as much going on. You could be in a slow part of your season, or again, you want a variation of the things you're doing. So a raid feature could allow use for some like iconic characters like in Anglicon or others that we're going to talk about in a second. But at the very least, just a dragon, a Smaug type of commander, I think would be very cool. Now, continuing on that thought, I am going to put the Balrogs on this list because while confirmed, there's no estimate or concept art or anything like that. So I'm still putting it on the list as like, we need this in the game. I think the Balrog that we're going to get is Durrensbane, the one we see in the Lord of the Rings. However, they might surprise us, but I think that's the one we're going to get. But there are different Balrogs in Middle-earth history as well. Again, the Balrogs and the history behind those creatures in Middle-earth is super fascinating to me. So I would just love to see more of that. But there is a dragon for one. This is Gothmog, which is confusing because there's an orc called Gothmog, but this is one of Morgoth's chief lieutenants. And again, maybe not as a playable commander, but just a raid that drops in that, you know, maybe it's once a week where it says, hey, Gothmog, the Balrog, is spawned in. The server has 12 hours to defeat this enemy to achieve these rewards, whatever it is. It could be interesting. But again, There are lots of different ones that we could see in terms of playable. I would expect Durin's Bane, the one we see in the Fellowship of the Ring, to be the one that we get, but we'll have to stay tuned on that. But seriously, Balrogs and Dragons, we're not hard to please, Netties. We like cool stuff, so give us some stuff that's on fire, and I think you're gonna do just fine. Now, to give the good side a little bit of attention, again, there are a lot of good side commanders that could be brought up that are there's in the lore the amount of elves and men and dwarves and all those things that are very, very powerful characters. There's a long list. This is by no means comprehensive, but Glorfindel is definitely one that is pretty well known. He's one that actually faced off against a Balrog and won, although he also died in the process because he was pulled off of a cliff. But Glorfindel is one that I think good side users would really appreciate, because again, if you're on the good side and you Balrogs and dragons, maybe you're like, okay, let's, he's an iconic, ridiculously powerful elf. So this could be one that I think could be added to the game. Again, I think reasonably as a tier 3, I don't think he's broken like a gigantic dragon like Anglicon, but I do feel like Glorfindel would fit nicely into the game as another a very powerful elven commander. I'll make this one quick because I don't know how people are going to feel about it, but listen, if you're around at all on the channel, I like the Nazgul a lot. Now, I wish that they were better. I think Witch King, in my opinion, is the only one legitimately in the meta, but we have 8 Nazgul in the game. So until we get the 9th, I'm going to keep saying that we need one more. My hope is that when they do that, it's a legitimate good command. Like, it's someone who's actually viable to use, fun to use, fits into the meta, is not just crap. Because we have a lot of Nazgul that are not very good. Again, with some investment, some of them can be decent. But let's be real, in the meta, we don't see all 8 of those guys running around all the time. It's pretty much just Witch King. So add another Nazgul and let's make it a decent one. I think that'd be really cool to get the final one who's very usable and enjoyable to use. Another commander is Glóin. Glóin is Gimli's father, and so it's a very well-known character. He's in the Hobbit movies. He's, again, he's very, very known. Something that I thought was interesting about Glóin that I thought of today, if you play the Battle of Middle-earth games, he's in there when you play the Dwarven factions, and he's actually a lot more siege specific. Like, he does a lot of structure damage. And something that comes up all the time from good side RP players especially is, when are we going to get another sieging commander that's not just Hirgon? Because Hirgon just gives +1 to siege, so it's not very good compared to Gothmog, who does +4 per level, which ends up being 24. So if they had a Glóin, they could do Glóin as a tier 2 Dwarven commander who does specialize in siege of some kind. Whether he matches Gothmog, I don't know, but he's a pretty known, decently iconic character that I think people would like, and it could fill a big gap for players if there was some kind of a siege ability in his kit. Now, those are all the legitimate, single kind of, or just standalone ideas. This one is sort of just an idea overall that I think could be implemented to the game. Now, the idea is not Faramir. We already have Faramir, obviously, but the idea is that we start getting different versions of commander. Now, I'm not just saying they just start reskinning commanders and reusing them just to make money. That's not the point. But for me personally, as a fan of the Lord of the Rings, as a big fan of Middle-earth and all that kind of stuff, I would rather have different variations of commanders than made-up commanders that don't exist. There's a lot of orcs and evil men that are just made-up random sounding names who are just thrown in here, which, again, I know they have to do a little bit more for the evil side, or they embellish details on things like the Nazgul, so they're named. But I think you could apply this to the good and the evil side. So one example I thought of was Faramir, who we kind of have as the Ithilien Ranger Faramir. And there could be the Knight Gondor version of Faramir. Whether it's tier 2 or 3, I don't know. But again, I think he could be added as the, whatever you call this version of Faramir, the Swan Knight version of Faramir or whatever, could be added. I think that'd be very interesting. Again, we see kind of the other, the Gondorian armor Faramir here with Éowyn as well, where we can have the shield made in Éowyn. And this could be a different type of Éowyn as well. Again, not exactly what kind it would be, but it would be interesting to see what kind of different variations they come up with. Some other options could be a good side of Saruman. So again, instead of just doing, evil and good to good, there could be some who could be, on both sides. So there could be a good version of Saruman, because I believe there was a point, again, I don't think he was always fully corrupted. So I think there could be a good version of Saruman, added an actual Saruman the White, the way he's meant to be. Obviously, the blue wizards can be added as well, but we've talked about that in past videos, so I won't go into that too much. But again, Saruman could be one. On the evil side, we could have a corrupted Galadriel added. Again, I'd personally rather have a corrupted Galadriel added as a new evil tier 3 than some made-up random orc chieftain who we made this character up. I'd rather have a corrupted Galadriel that is just does crazy madness, and I don't know what it would be. It'd need to be different from the regular Galadriel, but you get the idea. I think there are some variations where they are already in the game, but it's a good or an evil version, or it's like a leveled up version, like Tier 2 and Tier 3 Aragorn, or Gandalf the Grey and Gandalf the White, for example. But let's expand that a little bit instead of having so many generic commanders in the game. But that's going to do it for our list today. Again, I feel like I could seriously come up with 100 of these and just keep talking about all the commanders or characters in Middle-earth. That'd be a lot of fun to see, whether as commanders or just in different like new event modes or features. Again, this game, the events to me have been kind of lackluster. I would just love to have things where an event comes up and I really enjoy it. Like there is a raid event that happens maybe that happens every other month, and it's a big raid where you all come together on a server and do something very, very unique that's enjoyable. Something like that would be very fun, because so far for me, the events, you log in, you kind of like are trying to get like stickers unlocked, and you're like, let's be real, a lot of us playing the war games aren't as interested. Now, again, I buy all the stickers, don't get me wrong, I like the stickers, but let's add some like fighting events that are really entertaining as well, which could feature some of these big dragon bosses or balrogs or whatever. But again, I think there are lots of commander versions that could be added as well that would make the game just more versatile and the differences we have with different commanders. So anyways, that's a little bit of rambling there. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down below which commander you would like to see, or maybe there's someone I didn't mention at all that you've been thinking of for a long time. Let me know, and I'd like to do a commander mock-up. Again, maybe we go through, and if this was something voted on, we build what a good side Saruman would look like, or we build what an evil side Galadriel would look like, where we go and we look through every skill, we talk about the R10 item, we talk about what, you know, they do, like working into the meta, all that kind of stuff. So let me know down below what you think, and we'll do that in a future video. But that's going to do it for me in this one, and I hope to see you all in the next one.